So James Charles has been caught again, allegedly messaging young impressionable fans, and this time they're barely 16 years old. And yes, again, how many times are we going to catch him with his pants down, both literally and metaphorically? This was exposed by a one-off post on a TikToker's account, and on the face of it, it is terrible. There has been way too many times, especially considering that all these bad interactions look the same, for this to be a mistake. And remember, stuff like this has been admitted to by Mr. James Charles himself in the past. The entire fallout of this is embarrassing, and well, we need to talk about it. So hello everyone, welcome back. I'm Jake Baz. We cover the weird and wonderful on the internet, and today I'm going to be covering James Charles's 1 millionth downfall. Despite how friendly and charismatic he comes across on camera, once you look past this squeaky clean PR figure, it exposes the darker side of this man. He's constantly mired in scandals across the entire history of YouTube, and the closest one that I can see is 7 days ago. After having quite a terrible product launch of his new makeup brand Painted, he's been known and also admitted to in the past to sending illicit DMs and photos to minors on Instagram, and his entire excuse in these situations were, well, I didn't know the age. Because of course, right, you're not going to send photos and DMs that are very odd on a platform to someone who you don't think that's 18. Right? Well, I'm not sure about that, because this new person has come to light stating that the exact same thing that happened to loads of other people allegedly happened to them. And well, they've come out and said at the time they were barely 16, but not only that, they've actually said that to James Charles. Please remember that this new information that I'm going to show you that exposes James Charles is all alleged at this point. Bearing in mind that in his previous scandals, he did have multiple people that came out and said that stuff happened to them and it turned out not to be true. I'm not by any means saying that this person is lying, just please bear that in mind. But assuming James's character, and also that he did admit that he did these certain things with people before that were under the age of 18, I would definitely take a lot of credence to these claims. I'm going to show you this expose, to shed some light on this entire situation, and show you how this perfectly lines up with the past of James Charles. But before I do, if you'd like to keep informed and entertained around topics on YouTube and TikTok, please do hit the like button and subscribe. I'd love to see you back. So this video was uploaded by someone called Matthew Lawrence123 on TikTok, and to my previous knowledge there is nothing that was uploaded previous to this, so this is his first video. And before anyone bats these claims off because of the fact he's showing his socials in the description, that's what the majority of people do, so hush. So he uploaded this video about a week ago, and it's only just gained traction, explaining his situation with James Charles that happened 3 years previously. And I do have to say, this might be the worst one yet.
Story time on how I was one of James Charles' victims. This happened almost exactly 3 years ago now. I was 16, just had turned 16 a few months before.
So to not just be 16, but be barely 16, that is really scraping the barrel.
Some people are going to be like, why are you making this video right now? I'll tell you right fucking now why. Because I have been seeing some stuff about him, like, unveiling a new palette or something, like, next week. And some people are like, I know he's controversial, but, like, his makeup is just so good. He's a fucking freak. Like, he needs to be locked away.
This is the thing as well, you do get a lot of James Charles, like, fans and stans that will tend to dick ride him to the sun, but it's not allowed. Considering the seriousness of stuff, I cannot believe that he's still about on the platform. Like, the fact that there's been multiple situations of this happening kind of shows that it's not a coincidence.
Everything that has ever been said about him online regarding this topic, I 100% believe, because I have first-hand knowledge. So here we go. November 7th, 2020, 9:24. Age check! You're thinking, could be harmless. He's just asking for my age. Yeah, it wasn't. So this is a really complicated but also uncomplicated situation, which is why I never talked about it, because I just didn't have the heart to. But basically, he DM'd me that, and I responded and I said, I'm a very mature 16. Now I understand right off the bat, I shouldn't be talking like that. I should not be egging someone on like this, or like trying to like entice them. That wasn't my intent, I'm sure, but that's definitely how it came off, and I understand that now. But that being said, no matter what, I was a child.
And this is the thing, it doesn't matter what he said at the time. He apparently explicitly stated that he is a mature 16. And yeah, that does come across as egging on, but it doesn't fucking matter. Obviously, when you've got these superstars in your DMs that are coming towards you, it's gonna, one, frighten you, two, make you shit your pants, and then three, actually realise, what do I even do here? As they say, they're not sure whether they meant it or not in the actual original DMs, but that doesn't matter again. James Charles should have seen that he's 16 and ran away.
And it was also James Charles. So you're 16 and you're seeing this and it's like insane. I didn't know what to do. My brain was so like, it was empty. I had no thoughts going through. I had no idea what to do. I already said that, but it's so true. Whatever. I really, like, at the end of the day, there's nothing I could have said. He should have just stopped the conversation. He was the adult.
That's it, innit? Shut the door. Piss off. The fact that at this point James didn't actually run away to the hills, like, legitimately, I'm making the odd joke, but it's disgusting. Why has he even stuck around? And well, probably the reason why is because he's done this multiple times before, and it's just the norm for him. But I don't think in the past there was ever explicitly stated about the fact of someone being fully underage, especially barely 16, and him following on from it. That's the weird thing to me. What about? It's all weird.
So we had like maybe 5 texts back and forth on Instagram. It was age check. I'm a very mature 16. Oh, damn. Don't want to catch a case. And then after that, it was just like kind of stupid. Like that should have been end of conversation. But then he proceeded to add me on Snapchat. So this is 10:23. So an hour after this, or after I had responded to him and had the conversation. Now, again, you could just be like, oh, he could have added you on Snap before he got your age and thought maybe you were 18, like whatever. No, this was, I'm telling you right now, this was after that. So you can believe that or not.
There's no need for him to be going into his fans' profiles, getting their Snapchats immediately, and then sending them photos. That's really weird, and especially if you know it after, obviously that's a crime. This whole thing's just so tapped.
Again, you could just be like, oh, he could have added you on Snap before he got your age and thought maybe you were 18, like whatever. No, this was, I'm telling you right now, this was after that. So you can believe that or not. But he then proceeded to snap me, and we snapped for a while, didn't really talk much, like whatever. Then I get this snap one day. Now, this is November 24th, 2020, James Charles. I don't know if this was the actual snap. I don't have any screenshots of my snaps, but I opened this snap, and I swear to God, it was a full ass pic of like him in a mirror, something, whatever. And I was just like, oh, what the fuck?
It's just so grim, innit? The thing is as well, this out of the blue nature is something we've seen with the previous stuff where he'd just like send random pictures to people. So I guess it's some kind of like weird loyalty test. Obviously with the way that Snapchat works, there won't be a solid photo for concrete evidence of this, but we only have to take this person's word.
I was just like, oh, what the fuck? To which he responded, what did I send? I said, you just sent a child your ass pic. Actually. And then, I kid you not, he said, oops, sorry, that was for my kitty girls group chat. Or maybe someone else. I don't know. Sorry. Blocked me immediately.
Yeah, definitely looks like a loyalty test. If this is the case, which obviously, once again, everything's alleged, it's disgusting. It's so disgusting. He knew that he was 16, he carried on doing this stuff, sent an arse picture, and then when the guy's like, oh, it's a literal child, he gets blocked. It just sounds so similar to the previous stuff that I've seen on him that it really does worry me. How many other people are potentially out there that haven't said their story?
And that's all I have to say on the topic. That's all I need to say. I don't really care if anyone believes me. I was in the situation. I know what happened to me. I know that people might want to try to blame me for saying what I said to him, but like, I was a child. He had the upper hand. He needed to have not done what he did, and he did it anyway. And he needs to reap the consequences. And yeah, maybe people should stop supporting him or something.
So, there you have it. People should have stopped supporting him a long time ago. I don't understand the entire situation on YouTube, how he's managed to pitter-patter his way around this and somehow managed to come out unscathed. Like, how many times can you actually do this and be able to get away with it? And we need to remember that this is 3 years ago, but that means jack shit about the entire situation. It puts James Charles into disrepute because although he has already admitted to it, everyone seems to have ignored it. And by everyone, I mean his horrible little fans. But not only that, all the brands that work with him. And the thing that really leads me to like scratch my head in like annoyance is that how can someone like Sniper Wolf end up going out and doxing another platformer and get deplatformed essentially? But James Charles can message a minor fan after understanding that they are a minor and get away with it. How is there no criminal proceedings? How is there nothing that's been done about it? It's just being sort of swept under the rug and like, as YouTube is nowadays, just sort of bury it under thousands of videos. Because you need to remember, if you marry these claims with stuff that you've seen previously, it all makes sense. The timing of the release of this video seems to be somewhat intentional, with the caption of this video being "Good luck on your new palette, honey, hashtag James Charles." But even if it is timed, it doesn't matter really, because the claims still stand. He has enough screenshots to prove the fact that James Charles has messaged him, and also to prove that James Charles messaged him 3 years ago. So I can only commend this Matthew Lawrence for coming out and speaking about it, and it's horrible. It's so horrible. But hopefully with this sort of expose, he's managed to shed some light and lose some guilt from himself, considering the situation, and also start to go on that healing process. And this situation couldn't have come at a worse time for him, really, because he has just released a new makeup palette. But I've got an article here which kind of shows the horrible irony of this situation. So Cosmopolitan, a massive news source in the US, managed to upload an interview with James Charles, and this is the title. James Charles would like to be uncancelled, please. More than 2 years after allegations of sexual impropriety sent the superstar YouTuber into influencer purgatory, he's hoping to relaunch himself and the brand with the help of a new makeup line. In a wide-ranging interview with the Cosmopolitan, Charles talks about fucking up and trying to move on. Well, doesn't really look like you're going to be uncancelled soon, does it? There's no point putting please on that. But to me, it's just that first sentence. More than 2 years after allegations of sexual impropriety. Like, oh, it's the clocks have struck back, have they? We're back again. I don't want to sit here and mope and whine and cry because nobody wants to hear it. I can promise you nobody does. I had to do a lot of thinking, like, okay, babe, this is your fault. No, you're not a f***. No, you're not a group. No, you're not a predator. But you made a big mistake. And as we know, and I'll show you, it's not just a mistake, it's quite a few in it. It really is. James Charles has always been one to sort of like bat around the brush with stuff until it becomes too much. So it makes sense that he's being like this and being like, oh, woe is me. I'm not going to mope and cry, but I'm going to talk about how I'm not this, that, the other. When, yeah, categorically, you're probably not, but it doesn't mean you're not a fucking weirdo that sends illicit messages and photos to underage teens. Allegedly. When I polled friends and colleagues about what Charles had done in the run-up to this day, the general consensus was that he had done something bad, but no one was clear exactly what. Well, for such a prestigious journalist society that you're in, to not even fact-check one thing, come on. I asked my friends who don't really care about him what happened and they didn't respond. Just means you're not clued up in the drama. It doesn't mean that it didn't happen. In February 2021, aged 21, Charles confronted a career crisis as he couldn't quickly apologise and capitalise on. He was publicly accused of sending lewd photographs and inappropriate sexual messages to a then 16-year-old fan. I won't lie, I might have just got mixed up here. I thought it was 17. Charles said he was misled into believing the boy was 18 and he blocked him as soon as he learned the truth. In the end, substantiated or not, multiple media reports indicated at least 15 boys and men had accused Charles of inappropriate behaviour. And that's the thing, innit? Well, oh yeah, this one boy that was 16 that was saying they were 18, okay, fair enough. They've lied about their age to you, that's terrible. But with your massive stature, why wouldn't you even fact check it? And also, 15, right, substantiated or not. So you can cut that in half. There's 8 people that have come out specifically around this situation. So when it becomes so many people, it kind of adds up in numbers around the kind of person that you are, doesn't it, James? But another former accuser wrote back via Instagram and DM with a new revelation. He said, already privately apologised to Charles a few months ago for telling him I was 18 a few years ago and the TikTok I made blew that situation up. Well, of course it is. It's some horrible thing that happened to a child at the time. It doesn't matter whether the child is complicit or not. It's the fact it is a child. When asked to elaborate, the person did not reply. And this is the thing, he can apologise and say that he fucked up as much as possible, but he's in this massive sphere. He's a superstar, essentially, not of YouTube, but also just a celebrity. And when you're in that position, you've got to have some sort of like thoughts around who exactly am I gonna send an arse picture to, if you do even think like that. Personally, that one's not for me. You need to ask questions. You need to make sure that everything is safe and above board, because it comes back to bite you if it doesn't. But then also, if there's over 15 people now, and with this new person as well, this really is weird, in that if you're doing that with so many people that are under the age, but I haven't seen too many things about people over the age that have been sent like stuff like this. What are you digging for? Actions speak louder than words, and when there's over 10 instances that are confirmed of this, it shows what it is. Once again, it just highlights the kind of person that he is. But I do think it's important to also show another situation that happened just 10 months ago around this entire thing as well. So this man uploaded a TikTok video talking about his James Charles experience, and well, it didn't go brilliantly, with a very weird boyfriend application sort of thing, which really just makes my stomach turn a bit. Just a little bit cringe, James Charles. And then amongst other things, like loads of like back and forths, all of which screenshots are provided. James sent him this, which is like him trying to convince me to FaceTime him. He sent 2 illicit photos after I kept declining to send a selfie. So James is sending offhand nudes to people when they don't really want it, which kind of sums up what just happened in the original expose about this 16-year-old. He got sent random photos. And although at the time this person wasn't a minor and isn't a minor, that doesn't matter because it explains the entire point. This is just the most recent example of something like this happening, but as we know from the past, there was multiple instances of him sending illicit photos and also very weird DMs to people, some of which are under 18. And you tell me, what does that mean for James Charles? Because for me, I find this disgusting. As I've just shown you the patterns that he exhibits, he's done this multiple times of sending illicit photos. He's done this multiple times of sending illicit DMs and photos to underage children. And despite him even admitting to this, he somehow managed to get off the hook, and it's horrible. This only adds credence to the ideas from the screenshots that I've seen about this Matthew. He was also instantly blocked when things went sour, something that James Charles is pretty much a big fan of, just instantly blocking people. And everything isn't out of the character at all about him, so as much as I can understand what's going on here, and that all these allegations are just allegations at the end of the day at the moment, but this Matthew video seems to show some credence to it for sure. I've always disliked James Charles. I've never really understood him as a person, how he can be so positive and friendly on camera, but then off camera he seems to be a bit of a sexual creep. And it shows despite the amount of times that he's going to go out and say sorry on a public platform, he either doesn't mean it or doesn't learn from it. The video I've shown you is an example of one of the many things that he's done in the past. And this new video coming to light is probably going to scare him, thinking that, as we've seen in the Cosmopolitan thing, that it's all going to come to the front again. And it should. He should be cancelled. He shouldn't be here. If it's a one-off accident that happened like when he was younger and he was just fucking about, just being a bit of a weirdo, I'd find it weird, but I'd understand that potentially he's just not fact-checked. But then it happens again and again and again, and it all builds up and it brings to the front this. This is what James Charles was like. I can only presume that even if he's toned it down somewhat, that this might be what he's like now. And yeah, he should have always been off the platform. But what do you lot think? Please do let me know in the comments. If you did find this interesting, please do hit the like and subscribe, and I'll see you later. I'm VJ Baz. Take care.